Hey friends, Ash here with Gents. Hope you're doing well. Today I'm going to be talking about a fragrance that nowadays flies under the radar a bit, and this is a fragrance that I really like a lot. It is Kenzo Jungle Homme. This one's kind of hit or miss on discounters. Sometimes it's there, sometimes it's not. Generally, it's going to run you somewhere close to 30 bucks, maybe a little bit more, a little bit less, but right in that range typically. This one has a whole bunch that I love about fragrances from the, say, late 90s, early 2000s inside of this bottle right here. There are a lot of things that I love about this fragrance that I'll get into as this video goes on, and this one actually has some faint similarities or maybe stylistic similarities to some really expensive fragrances out there that I'll talk about as well. So let's go ahead and jump into this and check out Kenzo Jungle Homme, and I'll let you know why this fragrance is one of my favorite under the radar hidden gems, we'll call it. First off, let's go ahead and check out that presentation like always. Now, if you get a classic vintage Jungle Homme, the box is gonna look different than this one. It's a little bit more simplistic. It has a lime green sticker on the front. It looks like this right here. So that's what your vintage Kenzo Jungle Homme is going to look like. I don't think there's enough of a difference between that and this to go seek that out specifically and pay more money for it. But just be aware, if you look this fragrance up and you see the box looks different than this one, that's why. So let's go ahead and take a closer look at this box. So here's a good look at the box. You got the name of the house, name of the fragrance, size and concentration all right there on the front. On this side, nothing. On the other side, the name of the house, name of the fragrance, and the concentration. On the top of the box, you've got Kenzo. On the bottom of the box, you have your badge code, ingredients, and your barcode. And then on the back, nothing. And here we've got the bottle. So you've got these zebra stripes on the back here, Kenzo at the bottom. I actually like the way it looks. It has this concave design to it, which I think is really cool. Then you have this zebra's mane at the top here, which is basically like a brush. There is the sticker on the bottom. Look at the back for you. It does click into place, the cap. And there's your atomizer. Let me go ahead and waste a couple sprays for you guys. There we go. Okay, if you look up the note breakdown on this, there's a little bit of a disconnect between what they've got on sites like Fragrantica and what Kenzo actually has. And actually there's different note breakdowns you'll find depending on where you look just in general. It seems like nobody can really agree exactly what the note breakdown is supposed to be. On Kenzo's site, the note breakdown is a lot more simplistic than what they have on Fragrantica. So in the top, they just have two notes according to the Kenzo site, which is mate and lime. If you look on Fragrantica, it says there's cinnamon there. It says there's also a couple other citrus notes and no mate in the top. So again, a bit of a difference. Then on the Kenzo site, there's nutmeg and ambrette in the mid. And there's quite a lot of notes in the mid on Fragrantica, including mate. So they switched it from the top to the mid. And then on Kenzo's website, there are two different types of cedar. There's Gaiac wood, there's benzoin and vanilla. And then if you look on Fragrantica, there's vetiver and there is sandalwood added in the base. So again, depending on where you look, and it could be different from Parfumo to base notes to Fragrantica to Kenzo's website to other places, you're gonna find something a little bit different. So all this said about the notes and the differences, how does it actually smell? When you first spray this one on, it's jolting, really grabs your attention. It's aromatic, it's woody, it's fresh, it's spicy, it's a little bit citric. There's a whole bunch going on. Some people will say they don't like the opening. They say it's a little bit animalic, actually. I've read a number of people say that. I don't find it animalic at all, at least not to my own taste. I don't think it's animalic. I think it's unique. It's really well done. But like I said, it is a little bit jolting. So for some people, they're gonna get hit with all that going on in the opening and be like, oof, yeah, I don't know about this. This is, yeah, a little bit not to my liking, you know, a little bit different. So you have this sharp citrus initially. It's lime forward, so that's what you're gonna pick up the most of as far as the citrus notes go. And it's very warm and, like I said, kind of bracing and jolting when you first smell it. As it dries down, it becomes more of a dusty, warm, woodsy scent. Dry, dusty, warm, woodsy scent. It does retain some of the spiciness that you get initially. It becomes more spices and citrus notes into more of an aromatic and then a dry, woody scent as it dries down on your skin. And as it dries down, specifically through the mid, it actually starts to remind me of some other fragrances out there. This is what I talked about before. Well, fragrances that used to be out there. At times, it reminds me a little bit of Gucci Rush, which is very hard to find now, very expensive. At times, it reminds me of Gucci Envy, which is one of my all-time favorite fragrances, which is also really hard to find and very expensive nowadays. And that's because of how the woods come out in the fragrance. It does become, like I said, very woodsy, a little bit dry, a little bit dusty. And depending on how you perceive the fragrance, you might pick up a little bit of what smells like incense smoke, like just a little touch of it. And with all those woods kind of melding together with those spices from the opening still lingering into the mid, it takes on facets of Gucci Rush and Gucci Envy. And those fragrances, Gucci Rush and Gucci Envy, don't smell similar. So you might be thinking, well, how can it be that Jungle has similarities to both of those? And it's just the way this one comes across. It's not the same as either, but it's like it has little aspects from each one. And by having that similarity to Gucci Rush, it has a similarity to Wonderwood from Comme des Garçons, which is another fragrance which is much more expensive than this one. And this is not the same, once again, as Wonderwood, but it's got some aspects of that fragrance in here. If you like fragrances in the style of those scents, Wonderwood, Gucci Rush, Gucci Envy, or really men's fragrances that came out, let's say late 90s, early 2000s, you should check this out, 100%, because it pulls off that aesthetic really, really well. It has that vibe, but it's gonna cost you 30 bucks or less. This one, to me, is really, really underrated stuff. Now, if you don't like fragrances in those styles, I don't think you should rush out and try to pick this up or anything. And if you're a younger guy who's into more, sweet fragrances that are really people-pleasing, compliment-pulling, Yves Saint Laurent Wide, Dior Sauvage, Invictus, Acqua di Gio, Profundo, Profumo, fragrances like that, if you're into that more modern style, that blue fragrance style, a modern fougere style, you probably won't like this one as much. But if you like fragrances that do have that little bit of a throwback to it, throwback style, then this one is so good and so underrated and so under the radar nowadays. I could be completely wrong here. I could be way off base, but I feel like when this fragrance is discontinued, whenever that is, and the stock runs out, we're talking about the stock at discounters and the stock at whatever stores may still carry this one, when that runs out, I feel like this is the kind of scent that people who have known about it, people who have worn it, they're gonna clamor for it and they're gonna want to buy those bottles, and the price is gonna go up. And I feel like it's the type of scent you're gonna eventually, down the road, see at eBay for like 125, 150 bucks a bottle. And that's something that you'll actually see with Kenzo a lot. Kenzo Air Intense, those could still be found at discounters going back maybe 4 years or so, 4.5, and they were going for 40 bucks, 50 bucks. Nowadays, those are closer to 200. There's Kenzo Once Upon a Time, similar thing, goes for a lot of money nowadays. A lot of discontinued Kenzo fragrances seem to fetch a pretty good price. Kenzo Tokyo, Kenzo Pour Homme Night came out not that long ago, discontinued, now it's much more expensive. So I think you're gonna see a similar thing with Kenzo Jungle Homme down the road. Don't know when, could be years and years from now, but I feel like that's coming. As far as when I would wear this one, spring, winter, fall, or spring, fall, winter, whatever, day or night, either one, split right down the middle, 50-50. Good for casual use, potentially for a night out, not really a clubbing fragrance or anything like that, but if you're doing like a casual night out, it would work for that. You can wear it to the office, though I wouldn't go crazy heavy with the trigger. And I think it is more suited for guys 30 years of age and up. I don't imagine too many young guys are gonna like this one a lot unless they're just into fragrances that have, like I said before, that kind of late 90s feel to it. And I guess I will say, even though it does have a little bit of that throwback feel to it, it does not smell dated to me at all. Just like Gucci Envy still works and still smells amazing, so does this one. And as far as performance goes, for me, above average. We're talking about 7 hours or so of longevity. Not crazy, but still above average. And projection, also slightly above average for me as well. So there we go, Kenzo Jungle Homme. This one I feel like under the radar, very, very solid. For the price, this is a great cheapie as long as you like fragrances of this style. All right, if you've smelled that one, let me know what you think about it in the comments below. As always, thanks for hanging out with me today. Thanks for all your support. Stay safe out there, and I'll see you guys tomorrow with another fragrance video. See you guys later.